Almost like the Flashpoint, where it starts, one of the key matrix lines that will help shatter this status centralized system.
Why, hello, everybody. I am Jay-Z, and you have found Flashpoint Radio. Thank you for joining me. It is Thursday, May 10th, 2012, and we've got a whole slew of stories on my browser page to take a look at. Please look at them yourself. Some are funny, some are disturbing, some are just right, or just downright ridiculous when it comes to what our government and what people in power are doing to us, the sovereign citizens of this country. Remember, the Constitution was written to keep the government off of your back. The rights were given to you, not the government. The Constitution was written to shackle the government and to keep it from affecting your life. But as the years gone by, well, we get what we have here today. Both sides colluding behind the scenes to remove the rights from the individual, because it doesn't matter if it's left or right, conservative or liberal, they're all government. And remember that government is force and force is evil. So when your conservative friends or when your Fox News tells you that the liberals are bad, and your MSNBC and your liberal friends tell you that conservatives and Republicans are bad, they're both bad, okay? Wake up, people. They're both bad. And until we vote people in that literally want to neuter the government, we'll never get out of this mess we're in. We are going to get right to it, though, and look at what our Republicans in the House have done today. From the Hill, House votes to replace Pentagon cuts mandated by debt deal. So the failure of the debt committee last year to come to an agreement meant that automatic cuts were put in place. And well, what did the Republican-controlled House do today? The House voted Thursday to override steep cuts to the Pentagon's budget mandated by last summer's debt deal and replace them with spending reductions to food stamps and other mandatory social programs. While I am no fan of social programs or entitlements by any means, do you not think our money, our tax dollars, should at least be going to be spent in this country, within the borders of this country, and not shipped to Grumman and Boeing and Lockheed Martin and all of these other military-industrial complex companies to build facilities and to put technology out there overseas, which we never see, it never affects us, and it doesn't really protect us because there are no real threats to your life that wear a turban, okay? Those are false threats meant to scare you and meant you to fall in line and goose-step your way to a nationalistic country. Remember, patriotism is nationalism, okay? Remember, the Constitution is the United States, not the flag, not the soldiers, not the government, not the White House, not Congress, not an aircraft carrier. The Constitution, okay? Well, what do they want to keep that money for? As we've went over before, they want 30,000 drones flying above the United States by the year 2020. Well, from WTOP out of Washington, D.C., police chief in Washington, D.C., drones are good for Fairfax County, Virginia, but not for Washington, D.C. They do not need it. The rest of the country, yes, you need to be monitored by unmanned drones constantly, but D.C., that city-state, which is a little bit outside of the law and holds all of the corrupt politicians and the lobbyists, no, they don't need to be watched. How about this? From Infowars.com, media characterizes military invasion of South Florida as cool tourist story. I will let Channel 7 from Miami do the reporting for me.
So just imagine you sort of come down to South Florida, want to relax, nestle into your bed, and just after you click off 7 News at 11, this happens. It's like a scene out of an overseas military mission, but this is Coconut Grove.
We saw like flashes and shooting, and they like the Black Hawk had like a Gatling gun in the front, and you could hear it open up and fire off.
The simulation's so real, unknowing witnesses blew up social media, like Carlos, who tweeted, "What's up with all the planes and the big black helicopter flying over Miami? Feels like a Bonabon." Some people even called 911.
A lot of people have called in a panic. It's no need to panic.
The U.S. Department of Defense here and Miami police say at least this particular training exercise is now complete, so South Florida, sleep tight.
Yep. Just like in Chicago, Gatling guns, rappelling onto buildings. This happened at 1 a.m., okay? This is what that military-industrial complex gives you. This is what the funding for the Pentagon gets you. Training for urban warfare in United States cities when there is nothing like a United States city outside of the United States. So what are they training for? Last time I checked, Afghanistan doesn't look like Miami. Syria doesn't look like Miami. But anyways, let's look at what the liberal part of our government is doing. Liberal, obviously, in air quotes, from the Washington Times. Justice Department accuses Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio of racial profiling. Yes, so while our Justice Department is failing to prosecute Black Panthers that intimidate people at polling places, actively ships guns into Mexico and drugs into the United States knowingly, all knowingly, and causing the deaths of 6, probably more, United States citizens, law enforcement agents, and thousands of Mexican nationals, they're going after Judge Arpaio for enforcing and cracking down on illegal immigration when the federal government will not do one of the only things it should do, which is protect our borders from outside dangers and outside threats. And while these workers may not pose a physical threat to you, some people would say, and some people might be right in saying that they pose a threat to the economy, and we should at least be cataloging them and having them come into this country in an orderly fashion and not just letting them run across the border in the desert. But federal government won't do it. Local police do it. They get sued. While the government ships drugs into Mexico, while the Department of Justice is shipping guns in and drugs out of Mexico, they're going after Arpaio for racial profiling. How about this? You want to know what tyranny looks like? You want to know what a bureaucratic overthrow of your local government looks like? CBS Sacramento, Iselton police chief placed on leave over Facebook posts. He posted some things on Facebook, and guess what? The Iselton city manager, Dan Heinrichs, put Adams on leave and shut down the department. The police chief said, quote, "He came in yelling at me and telling me to get out of the police department now." This is a city manager. Now, I can't speak for Sacramento, but I know in most municipalities, the city manager is not an elected position. The city manager is appointed by either the city council or the mayor. So this is not an elected official walking in and basically firing and shuttering an entire police department. He said that the public were up in arms, but the police chief says, no, I don't believe that because I've had nothing but support from the public. He said instead the chief believes he's the target of city leaders that are unhappy that he's so vocal about the department's trouble. So he questions those corrupt bureaucrats, and well, the unelected city manager comes in and shuts down the police department. Oh, yay. We've got this from Oregon, Fox News. Oregon norovirus traced to reusable grocery bags. The norovirus, which is falsely categorized as the stomach flu, which is another reason or another way that they try to get you to get flu vaccines. Turns out some people got sick, 13 and 14-year-old girls got sick, and it came from their reusable grocery bags. So yes, while California is preparing to completely ban plastic grocery bags, the reusable grocery bags are carrying sometimes deadly and always troubling viruses. So if you're using reusable grocery bags, I applaud you for reusing and recycling, but please use common sense and wash those. They are carrying food items. Oh, and this, we'll go into our little travel industry that has been made so much better by the TSA and the security. From WPBF.com out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, baby, 18 months old, ordered off plane at Fort Lauderdale Airport. Well, a couple with their 18-month on-screen, beautiful little girl, were asked to leave the airplane. They said, for what? And the flight attendant said, well, it's not your husband. Your daughter was flagged as no-fly. So an 18-month-old girl was reportedly put on the no-fly list and asked to remove. These people were of Middle Eastern descent, and the woman did wear a burqa covering her head. And, well, they claimed that they were racially profiled, and And of course, the airline said that this young girl was put on the no-fly list, but the TSA said, no, she wasn't. She got a boarding pass, or she obviously wasn't. So somebody's making a mistake, and well, it all revolves around the fact that security theater is on play at our airports. The curtain has come up and the actors are out to make you think that A, there's a threat, and B, they're doing something about it, when actuality, it's a payoff for those that manufacture the body scanners and for the pedophiles that get paid $8.50 an hour to grope your child and your wife. Ain't America grand? And finally, we will go to Bloomberg News on a bit of an economic nugget. Headline, Bernanke gets 75% approval from investors in global poll. Well, it turns out Federal Reserve Chairman Benjamin Bernanke has his highest approval rating since 2009, and these investors expect him to take further action this year to accelerate a revival in the U.S. economy and financial markets. So yes, when you have your finger on the printing press, you get an approval rating of 75% when you just hand this money out willy-nilly to banks and institutions that just use it to loan it back to consumers at exorbitant amount of rates and rake in profits. So no wonder a loose monetary policy will get people that benefit from a loose monetary policy giving you the thumbs up. Wake up, people. This is happening. This is real. None of the government is good. Government is bad. We need the smallest government possible, and that is what is the Constitution. It fits in my pocket, it fits in your pocket, and that's all we need. Because those words, those documents are so strong, they will shackle any government bureaucrat forever, as long as we follow them, remember them, and never let them burn it. But they're burning it actively through federal power grabs and through executive orders and other ways, shapes, and forms, and we have to stop it. We have to stop it. And what does that mean? It means we refuse the bureaucrats and the big government in our local towns and cities, because we can't allow the government to be overreaching locally and then expect the federal government to get away. No, we have to say, government, get out of my back, leave me alone. I will take my money and I will help the poor myself. Jay-Z signing off for Flashpoint Radio, saying, God bless, keep your eyes to the sky, and I will see you tomorrow.
Get ready, baby, get too much. All the world will suffer, the Wookiees wicked clutch.